Okay, what I want to talk to you now about is the, as you said, the barriers in you. It's the first thing to get you to take action. All the voices in your head that sort of decry you and say, look, you're not this, you're not that. And a lot of us have this little voice that keeps programming us. It's almost like ourselves talking to ourselves, and sometimes it's very berating. It means that it does you down all the time. So just imagine if you could turn that voice into a positive voice that just said how fantastic you were. There's a certain NLP exercise where we change that voice in someone into maybe for a guy, into a sexy woman, saying, oh, you're so fantastic, you're so wonderful, you're so beautiful, all these sorts of things. We do it for a laugh, but it's quite powerful. There's always got to be a reason for why people do things, and if I can create that reason and that impetus and so strong in you that it will draw you forward like a huge wound up elastic band that will propel you into the future where you want to go. Whereas at the moment, most people that I meet, I'm not saying it's you, but most people, they have this, like I've mentioned before, a series of suitcases running behind them, and we cut those off as we go through. In the hypnosis terms, I used to do smoking hypnosis. Although I'll tell you a story. I went to this big seminar once on hypnosis, and there's lots of hypnotherapists there, about 500 of them, and they said to me, you know, on the coffee break, they'd say, you know, what do you do, Kern? And I'd say, well, I work for the tobacco companies. And they'd look at me like I was the devil. And I'd say, well, what do you do for the tobacco companies? And I said, well, I use the hypnosis techniques to show people how they can smoke more a day or change brands and all these sorts of things. I didn't get many people want to talk to me after that, but that was my sense of humour. I really do like to take the piss on certain occasions, and I can tell you lots of stories about how I've done that with really bad points of view, but you'll find that my sense of humour is a little bit weird. Okay, so when it comes to, I was going to smoking there, I used to stop people smoking, and I started smoking because I did that, because, you know, when I was sitting there with someone who wanted to stop smoking, they were so enjoying the cigarette. They actually had a cigarette packet on the side of the sofa sometimes, and they go, do you mind if I have a last one? It was almost like the condemned man because before he's going to be shot, you know, having that last cigarette. It's a goodbye. And I can remember saying to one guy, do you mind if I have one too? And he went, what? I said, yeah, well, you know, the way you're talking about smoking, you love it so much. Why do you want to give up? And you're kind of convincing me to take it up. And he said, well, I don't really want to give it up. And the only reason I'm doing this hypnosis is to show the family that, you know, it's impossible for me to do it. And he loved cigarettes more than anything in this world. I don't know if he was addicted to the nicotine. He was addicted to something, but he loved it. And how I used to actually change people's perception and get them to move away from that mental connection was to give them something better. And I'd say, look, there's a downside to hypnosis. And they go, oh, found the problem. And I say, yeah, the downside is that when I take out an addiction from your mind, it kind of leaves a space, and I have to fill it with another addiction. And you can tell me whatever that you'd like that to be, but I usually put better performance in bed and complete sexual compulsion involved in it. So that will be your addiction. And they and it was a really cool way to get them off smoking, because they suddenly went from being a smoking addict to shagging their wife every day. The wife was very happy usually, because after 20 years of their husband smoking and coughing his guts up, it was now 1, working out, and 2, satisfying her. So it was a really cool way to do hypnosis. I was always finding ways to do things that would entertain me. Otherwise you tend to get a bit bored with life doing the same thing. And that's really what I want you to think about when you're going through this program. I want you to have a laugh with it. Do not take it seriously. It will take you step by step forward. You will enjoy it, and we'll have a great time together, and we'll have a lot of laughs. But ultimately, it's about you achieving the financial freedom. And I'd like you to think about the £1 million. The £1 million that I've put there is realistic, but only if everybody follows what I say. So this is why you're so important. This is why you're a partner on this program, because you can help me to support that. So other people, you're kind of like, you know, you've got your compadres next to you who want to go in the same route, the ones of your 7. And you can support them when they're a little bit down or they're losing threads slightly, because we all lose faith. And faith is very important. I always describe it as like taking a step into the clouds. There's a staircase there, but you can't see it. But it is only there if you totally 100% believe that it's there. The magic won't happen otherwise. And this is the dilemma we as humans always have. am I really going to be successful? Am I really going to make the money? Am I really going to be happy? You know, when you question yourself, you're posing that question as a doubt, and you kind of like sometimes go off in a different direction, and you start to think, well, I'll think about that on another day. I've got other problems. I've got bills to pay. You know, this success thing and making $1 million or whatever, that's just like pie in the sky. That's where you undermine yourself, and that's where, if you start to look at metaphysics, where the universe goes, look, to put it mildly, fuck you. Because if you can imagine, you know, when you're a kid and you send that little letter up the chimney, I don't know if everybody does it, but when I was a kid, you write out your wish list and you'd send it up the chimney with the air, and it would go to apparently Father Christmas, who would then give you your wish. But if you think of that to the universe, like you can connect with the universe and you say to the universe, oh God, I want to make $1 million, I want to be rich. And then you go out shopping and then you go, oh, I want a handbag. To be honest, I want those shoes. And I fancy that guy over there. Or the universe is going, do you mind just stopping for a second? Can we focus? Can we sort of like focus for a second so I can get one thing done? Because what I've got to do is put the wheels of the universe, and that means everybody in the planet, in motion to create what you want. If you keep changing your mind, I'm going to go work with somebody else. And really, that's what happens. That's why when you want something, you have to put your heart and soul in it. You have to focus on that one thing, achieve it, and then go for the next thing. It doesn't mean that you can't daydream a little bit, but the more you train your mind into going towards success and making a goal, the more you will make it, rather than being distracted by the problems of the day. It is a very simple lesson to learn, but very, very hard to put in practice. But as you condition yourself, and this is very much about conditioning your mind, as you go through the program, and once you start at the junior level and you move forward to working with other people, or whatever level you choose to come in at, whatever you feel most confident. I mean, if you're really someone who's dedicated and wants to, not work for anybody else, wants to make a big change in their life and is pretty certain about that, then go for the top level. I mean, you're going to be able to work with a coach, and you're going to be able to go from that point to that point supercharged, no problem at all. But for those people who want to just, let's say, put the toe in the water, not sure if this success and making money thing is really for me, I don't know what I'd spend it on. You know, you hear these people on the lottery, they go, you know, if I had a few million, I wouldn't know what to do with it. Well, why do the bloody lottery then? Well, let somebody else win it. This is the point. You know, you've got to have desires. When I have a desire, you know, I can remember years ago I wanted a big boat. I wanted a boat to live on. I got my desire. I wanted a Rolex. You know, I used to, as a kid, go past Rolex shops when I was about, I don't know, 13. And I remember getting a magazine and cutting this Rolex out on the paper and putting it around my wrist. And thinking, I wonder what kind of person wears a Rolex. They weren't as common as they are these days. I'm not sure they're common, but I still like the watch. But I had that as a goal, and I think by the time I was 26, I had my Rolex, and I was thinking, oh, great, I'll move on. You have these goals that are quite good to, what I term is you idealize them. You have to have an ideal in your mind, and then you visualize it in detail where you're going to be. You breathe life into it, and that means then you can manifest it into your life. But you have to have consistency, you have to have continuity, and you have to have commitment. And you have to have a mechanism to get there, otherwise you just sit there floundering at home. You haven't got the people around you to support you, you don't have the mechanism, and you're trying to think it all out for yourself, and it isn't going to work. So we'll do that in the next video.